Hawkeye murdered Bruce Banner the Hulk. So what now? Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take your favorite trade paperbacks and single issues of comic books, and I read them dramatically back to you after adding some amazing musical choices and funny voices. All alterations to the panel's text and images are to prevent copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now this is issues 1 and 2 of Occupy Avengers. Let's begin. As Clint Barton passes through a diner in Santa Rosa, he thinks how sometimes it may be a good idea to keep wearing a mask. Because without it, people already know who you are. You're the person who killed the Hulk. Someone who killed your own friend. But as people in the diner line up to take their pictures with Clint, Sheriff Ortiz tells everyone that it's time to let the man eat in peace. As Ortiz and Red Wolf sit down with him, Clint tells them thanks for giving him some space. Ortiz tells them that that's not a problem, but they heard an Avenger was coming by their area, and they figured that they would stop and pay a visit, and see why an Avenger would be stopping in their town. He says that he's passing through, maybe getting a bite to eat, a glass of water, from a bottle, which seems to be the only way that you can get water. From bottles. Red Wolf asks if he's come here to investigate the contaminated water, and Ortiz explains that the water supply there has been contaminated for the last 5 years. Clint says that he just wanted to have a look around, see if maybe he can help, and Ortiz tells him that that's nice of him, but the deal is Deputy Red Wolf comes with to speak with the natives where the spring is located. So without much of a choice, Clint heads out with Red Wolf at his side to the Sweet Medicine Indian Reservation where the spring is located. As Clint looks through the water supply, a voice calls out to Red Wolf asking if there's anything that they can help him with. Red Wolf tells Old Lady Fireheart that he's brought a companion to the reserve to learn more about it. One of the grandsons says that Granny Fireheart wants to know who they are. Some kind of journalist or an environmentalist? The other grandson says, that guy? He's Hawkeye, the guy who killed the Hulk. And the first grandson asks, what are they doing here? Clint tries to explain that he's here to figure out what's going on with the contamination, because something needs to be done about it. But off in the distance, a group of men are watching, and the commander tells the guards that he's not sure who this guy is, but they need to capture him and not kill him. 9 hours later, those men are trying to kill Clint Barton because you knew it wouldn't go any other way. Clint tries to escape, and he thinks about how there are 3 types of bad guys with machine guns. The first ones have good aim and they shoot you. The second ones are the ones who have terrible aim, and the third, which are the scariest, are the ones who purposely miss. That means they're trying to capture you. Clint drives the bike over the ledge, causing the men to stop their chase, and he hides behind a rock. All of the men get out and they move into position to fire, but Clint takes out an arrow and he fires back. It flies past the guards and into the Jeep's gas tank, causing a massive explosion. The commander tells the men to continue firing and keep them pinned. Clint goes back to firing another arrow, but more bullets shot at him are forcing him out of cover. Becker then tells some of the men to take the other Jeep and go around and flank this Avenger. But as they do, they see Red Wolf charging right in at them on horseback. He holds up his tomahawk and he throws it at their windshield, causing the men to crash. The commander radios back to base, letting them know that they're gonna need more security here in Sector 7. The remaining guards jump down into the dried up riverbed to attack Red Wolf, but as the first man lifts his gun, an arrow shoots him through his arm. From the top, Clint takes aim and fires down on the guards, and then finally shoots Becker. While Clint makes his way over, Red Wolf grabs a hold of Becker, asking what is he doing on this tribal land. And when Clint climbs up, he tells him that he's got it all wrong. Watch this. He rips the arrow out of the commander's arm and he tells him he's going to talk. And if he doesn't, he's gonna take this arrow and carve out the commander's eyes. The commander responds with a rather firm, "Screw you!" And Clint punches him, knocking him out. Red Wolf asks, why did you do that? We needed information. But Clint says he wasn't gonna talk. So he just saved them the trouble of having their feelings hurt when the guy says mean things to them. He then says it's time to move out, so he jumps back down into the riverbed and finds water. Red Wolf asks what's wrong, and Clint says that there wasn't water here a minute ago, so where did it come from? Suddenly the water shakes as Hydro Man jumps out, knocking both Clint and Red Wolf away. Clint says that he can't remember his name. Is it something like Rain Man or Wet Willie? And Hydro Man punches him down, stating, "It's Hydro Man, and it's time to end this." Water begins seeping up, covering both Clint and Red Wolf, head to foot in water. Clint tries to fight his way out, but off in the distance, Old Lady Fireheart's grandsons, Silas and Frank, watch. Silas tells Frank it's time for them to be the indigenous, first-person, aboriginal ass-kickers from the Sweet Medicine Indian Reservation that they are meant to be. And Frank tells him, yeah, let's go all in the spirit of the Crazy Horse. And Silas says, dude, wrong tribe. Back in the riverbed, lights shine on Hydro Man as he pulls both Clint and Red Wolf out of the water. A man then steps out of a Jeep and states that he gave explicit orders not to kill these two. Hydro Man tells Becker that one of these guys is an Avenger. They should just kill the Avenger and interrogate the other. And the response is him telling them to put them down. Hydro Man throws the bodies on the ground stating, "This sucks." And as the two of them land, they both begin to cough. And Clint asks, "What are you doing here anyways?" Red Wolf tells him, "The same thing as you. Something was amiss upon the reservation. I'm here to make it right." "Amiss on the reservation? I love the way you talk." Becker says that it's time to see what the two of them know. And he runs up, kicking Clint in the face, stating, "That's just shooting me with an arrow." Clint and Red Wolf are then loaded into 2 jeeps, and Silas and Frank state that it seems that they're gonna have to follow them now. After a bit of a drive, the 2 grandsons pull up to a water pumping plant, and Frank asks, "Why are they here?" Silas says the question is, why is the greedy white man here to steal their polluted water? In the jeep down below, Clint asks Red Wolf if he minds if he just calls him Wolf, because calling him Red has a mildly racist undertone. Red Wolf asks him what does he mean, and Clint says that, "I'm trying to say that we're in a bad spot here, but..." And then before Clint can go on, Hydro Man grabs the 2 of them from the jeep, telling them to shut up, and he slams them onto the ground. Red Wolf leans up asking, "You were saying?" And Clint tells him, "I was going to say that I've been in worse situations than this, but don't get your hopes up on surviving it." While the 2 of them are moved and tied up, Red Wolf asks if he's trying to say that they're gonna die. Clint tells him, "Dying is taking it a bit too far." So Red Wolf responds by asking if he has a plan. Clint informs him that he does, but he doesn't. Yes, he does not have a plan, and no, he does not need a plan. While Clint starts undoing the knots, Red Wolf says that makes no sense. They both then pull their ropes off, and Clint says that he was passing through, but thankfully, the guards are awful at tying knots. Hydro Man steps up, stating that he'll take care of this, and Clint laughs, asking if the big bad wet Willie is gonna make him talk. Hydro Man punches him, stating, "It's Hydro Man!" And while he focuses on Clint, Red Wolf rushes in, kicking the guards and grabbing a gun. Hydro Man then continues attacking, shouting, "Say my name!" And Clint jumps around asking, "Is it Slip and Slide? Is it Betsy Wetsy?" Hydro Man eventually grabs him, shouting, "Hydro Man! Hydro Man!" And Clint just asks him, "Bedwetter? Puddle face?" But before Hydro Man can get a shot in, Silas and Frank drive in, running into him. Clint's body flies off and he shouts, "Thank God I was running out of names there." Red Wolf fights off the guards and Clint quickly gets back up, jumping on Becker. As Silas and Frank join the fight, they shout, "No one messes with the Fireheart cousins." Red Wolf then asks Clint if this is what he meant by not having a plan. While throwing arrowheads at people, Clint tells him, "Of course, it's more fun this way, just making up stuff as you go." As the 4 of them finish taking everyone down, Hydro Man gets up shouting, "I will kill you all!" And Frank tells Hydro Man to put Red Wolf down, and Hydro Man responds with, "Or what?" Frank pulls out a taser and shoots it into Hydro Man, electrocuting him. Clint gets up stating that was totally badass, and Frank tells him that he wasn't really sure it was even going to work. So Red Wolf tells everyone that they've done good. Now they're going to check on the others to make sure that they were sufficiently incapacitated. Sufficiently incapacitated? I really love the way you talk, Red Wolf. Hours later, Sheriff Ortiz says that this is going to be a jurisdictional nightmare, but she will try and sort out what's going on. Clint tells Red Wolf that it seems that the contaminated water was being used as a ruse to draw attention away from something bigger. And Red Wolf says that drinkable water was discovered on the reservation. And Clint says, yeah, Becker was here stealing water that rightfully belonged to the reservation. And as the police leave with everyone, Red Wolf asks Clint what he plans on doing next. He responds with, travel the country looking for wrongs to make right. Try and make sense of the world that makes no sense, but honestly, he's feeling a bit lost himself. So Red Wolf tells him, I'm lost as well. And Clint says, that's cool. Want to come along for a ride? This is the beginning of the new frontier of the Avengers. Clint is out there trying to redeem himself for an act that everyone is praising him for, but he feels rather guilty about. If you want to know what's going on with Clint Barton and Occupy Avengers, subscribe to the channel and subscribe to your favorite comic book at your local comic book store. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time right here.